Success in a coding job does have a minimum bar for technical skills. However, if you really want to accelerate your career and stand out from the pack, there are some non-technical skills that are really going to help you out. And this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart because in my career, I moved up the ladder very rapidly. I was a team leader within 2 years of graduating from college. I was a director before I was 30, and I was an entrepreneur running my own businesses after that. And these non-technical skills were a key part of me being able to accelerate this. I'm Eric Wise from Foundry, where we teach people to code the right way. So the first non-technical skill that's really important, arguably the most important, is communication. And communication falls into several categories that are important to successful software developers. And the first one is written communication. As a software developer, you are going to have to write emails to your colleagues. You're going to have to write specifications and project plans, and you're going to have to justify your decisions and promote your ideas. And being able to write effectively is required for people to take you seriously. If you write like a fifth grader, people are not going to take your ideas seriously, no matter how good they are. So learning how to communicate professionally in writing is a key skill to advancement. And the other part of communication is your verbal communication. Speaking effectively is really important. You're going to have a lot of agile stand-up meetings. You're going to be giving a lot of presentations. And getting comfortable with standing up and speaking to a group of your peers, both technical and non-technical, is not only a way to move up the ladder because you convey what you know and assert your confidence and competency, but it's also key to becoming a leader in IT because communication is one of the top skills that is required for leadership, and you are going to have to give people reviews and give people advice and be able to verbally communicate to them effectively. And that's something that's really hard for a lot of IT people because they do tend to fall on the introverted side of the spectrum. So I'm often recommending to younger IT professionals to join things like Toastmasters and take classes on public speaking and extemporaneous delivery. Join the community theater, things like that. Get used to communicating verbally, and the more effective you are at it, generally the faster you will move up the ladder at your companies. I would also be remiss if I didn't point out that ineffective communication skills are the number one reason why somebody who is otherwise technically qualified does not pass a job interview. Because an interview is about two things: being able to express what you know and being able to convince the person across the table that they want to work with you. And if you're a poor communicator, it is very difficult to get either of those points across to them and land those job opportunities. Now, the second non-technical skill is a business domain mindset. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. When you get a job for a company, and most of the jobs are enterprise development jobs, you're working for insurance companies, banks, retail, things like that. All of those companies have domains. So if you're in the insurance domain, you want to know about claims and applications and regulations and how they do pricing and things like that. All of the code and the systems that the IT team is setting up for that insurance company are designed to support the business. And too many developers that I've met in my career do not care about the business. They only care about the technology. And that is a very career-limiting attitude. The more you understand about how the business works and how people in the business go about their jobs, the more effective you will be at designing great solutions for them. And that should be one of the primary motivators for being a developer, is to help people do things better. and help businesses be more efficient. And you can't do that effectively if you do not understand the business side of things. And this is something in my career that really stood out to me because I actually started out in computer engineering, but I had already started teaching myself to code when I was 12. So when I got into computer engineering, I was taking things like physics and calculus and intro to programming, and it was really boring for me. So I looked around my university and I found a program called Computer Information Systems, and it was over in the College of Business. So my electives there were not physics and chemistry, it was finance and accounting and marketing and economics. And I really learned a lot about businesses and how they work. And then when I went to interview and I wanted to get a job for a business, my first job was actually with an accounting firm that built their own accounting software. And I could actually talk to them about double entry accounting and all these business things that a computer science major would not have known. And it gave me a huge leg up in the interview. It got me into the job. And later on, when I moved into other domains like insurance and banking and things like that, I was always able to go in and communicate effectively with the non-technical stakeholders. And this is what really shoots you up the ladder into leadership. And it's a big differentiator because if an insurance company is looking at candidate A, who's a pretty good coder, let's say they're a A-level coder, and candidate B is a weaker coder, but they really understand your business and communicate well, they're going to take the less technical coder as long as they're above that minimum bar. And I've seen that play out over and over and over again in my career. And it's a big tip from me to you if you're going to look for your first job and you're interviewing at a company. One of the first things you should do in the research is figure out what they do and figure out what the domain language is. If you're going into an insurance company, be ready to talk about policies and premiums and regulations and, actuarial things and underwriting, because the more you can express that you know about the business on side of the technical, the more excited they'll generally be to work with you. The final non-technical piece that you need for career success is networking. Now, this is related to communication, but it is something that you have to be diligent about and work at. I recommend going to meetup groups and attending conferences and even networking with your peers at work and even peers at other companies in your area that you can meet through LinkedIn. And the key to this is to not treat networking as transactional. You don't want to be out there meeting people just because you need something. You want to be networking with people so that you can help them, get to know them, and then leverage them in the future in a mutually beneficial way. And that's how you should look at building your network. Now, as you grow as a professional, what you're going to find if you network well is that opportunities will be brought to you. Now, for me personally, once I got about 3 to 5 years experience in the field, I had networked so much that I never applied for another job again. I was invited to apply for jobs. And I had my contacts, whether they were recruiters or other IT professionals or even business contacts, because I had that business acumen and I worked well with my business users. I had people leading finance teams and accounting teams and marketing teams that would become aware of IT opportunities and would reach out to me and invite me to apply to those positions. But networking is something you have to really work at. You have to be diligent about it. You have to follow up with people. You have to schedule periodic meetings with people. And you have to really genuinely care about other people. Like I said, you just can't make this transactional. But networking will keep you employed. It'll keep opportunities coming to you, and it will give you the freedom and flexibility to map your own career path rather than being drug along by whatever's happening in the market. So that wraps things up. I hope that you're now convinced at how important effective communication, both written and verbal, paying attention to the business domains and learning more than just the technology, and developing and implementing a solid networking strategy are to separating yourself from the pack and setting you up for long-term success in the IT field. Happy coding!